All right, hey class. So as promised on Monday's video, this is going to be just kind of a walkthrough for how to use the library resources that are available to you if you've never had to use them before, or just a kind of a good refresher if you have in previous classes. And so to start, what I want to do is I want to draw your attention to some of the resources that we have already on our Blackboard, and then we'll go in and take a look at the library's website and kind of look at the kind of things that you'll have to do to navigate those. As well as some useful tips and kind of tools that you can use when you're actually in the resources you want to use for searching and getting good results for your searches. So the first thing I want to draw your attention to is this content tab over here. So if you click this, what I've got here is a Word doc, keywords and research tips, which will pull up this essentially. Now, what this is it's basically a kind of a bare bones walkthrough of everything I'm going to be talking about in this video today, but it's something that you can take with you when you're doing your research to kind of figure out how to identify your topic, how to narrow your topic into kind of specific issues or kind of subtopics that you might want to research, how to develop keywords and good searches, and then how to actually kind of step-by-step use these to find good results in the research. Or in the library resources. So again, this is all stuff that I'll cover in the video, but it's there for you as well. All right, so what I want to talk about today then is kind of a broad overview of what we'll be doing in Project 2 and then how we'll be using the library to accomplish those goals. And so as I said on Monday's video, essentially what you're going to be doing now is you're going to be using the library to find articles written in your community. And so what this means is that you're going to have to figure out where you might go to find those kind of articles. And so instead of just plugging something into like the general search bar, like a Google search bar about like, what's going on in medicine right now, you can use the library's resources to narrow your focus so that you don't have to sift through all of that stuff. Now, before we get to that, I do want to point you towards here. So if you click on this Library Resources tab, what this is this is a collection of different resources that our librarian for the English department has compiled for us. And if you click here on our English 3010, you'll see that there are kind of some helpful kind of tips and tricks that you can go to kind of work through the library. Here are some general databases that you might look at to get a better sense of a particular topic. What I will say is that these are not databases that you would use to find articles. Instead, these are databases that you would use to kind of get some background information, contextual information about a particular topic that you could then go research more fully in a kind of a more discipline specific database or something like that. So these are here, and this is also Judith is a really good resource to make use of if you get stuck on kind of using the library. But also you could kind of go towards the librarian for your particular field that you're interested in. Okay, so that's there too for if you guys want to make use of that. All right, so what I want to do then is I want to talk about how you would actually go into the library and find these things. And so if you go to the library's main website, you're going to come up to something like this. Now you've got some options here. Most of you probably just go plug into this. So we could do like, just search for cancer research and see what comes up. And so what this is going to do, this is going to give you everything that Wayne State has access to relating to cancer research, anything that you could find, you could look at, related to that topic. And as you'll see, it breaks it down into some key categories. So articles, and so we're talking like journal articles or peer review, things like that, books and media, journals themselves. And so if you are unsure about the difference between an article and a journal, journals are a collection of articles. So you'll be reading articles in particular scholarly or disciplinary journals. Research guides, so on and so forth. And so I want to talk about each of these resources briefly, and then we'll move into kind of what you should do from here. Now, our main focus is going to be here. We're going to be looking at articles from your field because you're going, if you remember from the Project 2 assignment sheet, you're going to be comparing an article from your community to one that we're reading for this class. And I want to stress that. You're comparing one from your community, whatever community you're interested in, to an article that we're reading for class. And so it could be one of those optional articles that you're reading for this week, or it could be any other article that we've got on deck for the semester. It's totally your choice. Make sure that you are doing that comparison. Books and media, obviously, you're going to have kind of more topic-specific and in-depth discussion in this section in the catalog. However, what you will find is because books obviously are longer and they take longer to publish, they may not be as topical or as contemporary as an article. Our internet resources, and then down here is our research guide. So what this is this is a source that you can go to that will direct you to various collections of information that you might find useful. So for each discipline, for each field that we kind of, you know, what's the word? That we kind of, you know, teach, or that you might, you know, take classes in at Wayne State, there's a librarian that's compiled resources for that field. Okay. So what I also want to draw your attention to is if you just use that quick search bar, you're going to get something like this if you haven't narrowed down your topic, 5 million hits. Now that's not really something that is feasible. I mean, you're going to look at the first 5 and call it good, and you might not get the best information. So there's a couple things you can do here. So if you remember that, or if you take a look at that Word doc that I posted, you know, for the keywords and tips, you can start to figure out how you want to narrow down your topic. And what you should be doing is thinking about what you're interested in. So at the end of your research guide that you're completing for Project 1, you're coming up with some questions about the field. And so this is where you might start to plug in things related to those questions. So if you're interested in, you know, how, the medical field is implementing new technology, you could do things like, you could do medicine, technology, and that'll give you information that incorporates both of those ideas. So you can see we're already down 1 million hits, right? So still not completely feasible, but it's starting to kind of narrow your focus a little bit. So let's go back to the main library page. So rather than using this quick, this kind of quick search bar, there's a better way to do it. So if you already have some databases in mind that you like, that you've used for other classes, that you know would kick back good results for you, and these are things that you'll definitely develop as you kind of progress into your different majors. You can just go here. For example, the ones that I use all the time in English, like early English books online, things like that. So I know that there's databases that I like to use, and I can just go directly to them. However, if you don't know, or if you don't have databases that you prefer to use, you come over here to this Research Guides tab. So what this is like I was saying a minute ago, this is a collection of resources that are tailored to specific fields. And so, for example, if we just go into anthropology, you'll see that here is the specific librarian for this field at Wayne State. And what she's done is she's compiled resources that Wayne State has that are specifically related to anthropology. So what this does is this prevents you from having to sift through everything Wayne State might have in relation to anthropology. Things that would have no bearing on your research. And she's given you just the resources that you could use that would give you good results. And so she's already helped you narrow down all of that search stuff by kind of getting rid of all the chaff that you don't need to worry about. You can see we can do this for any of these fields. Business, again, here is the the librarian for the School of Business, and then here are all the resources that relate to that field. And so the idea is based on the blogs that I've read so far, you all have a very specific field in mind, and for the most part it's medicine, which is great because there's a lot of good medical resources available to you. And so the goal is to go into, let's see, I was probably under health. I read this. Ha! I found it. Okay, come all the way down here. You're going to see lots of different resources related to different kinds of medicine that we may be looking at, whether we're looking at kind of the sciences in general, or if we're looking at medical reference tools, pharmacology, pharmacy, public health. There's also one for nursing, radiology, etc. So the idea here is that you'll identify the basic community that you are interested in. You've got some questions about this community based on the work that you did in Project 1. So it could be technology in cancer research. And then you find a research guide that is related to that field, and that's where you would start asking your questions. And so let's just jump into nursing. And so what you'll see is when you click on these is there's a couple things going on here. We've got some different resources over here. We've got different journals. And then specifically, each one of these will have some databases that we can use when we're looking. And so these are all the databases that are related to nursing. So let's just take a look at, let's just go here. First one we see, we'll log in. And so here we are at a specific database. Now, this will get us a lot more specific results from our searches. We won't get those 5 million hits, and we can start to kind of ask our questions. And so if I'm interested in, let's say, safety in nursing, like how are, what kind of safety procedures are involved in nursing, I can start to put that in here. Like, instead of coming in with like a specific idea, you say like, I'm interested in how nurses are dealing with job safety. So I can do nursing safety. And so all of a sudden we're seeing that instead of the 5 million, I've got 21,000. Now, obviously there's ways to narrow that down, but you can already see that this database is giving us specific results that are tailored to the things that we're interested in. So we're seeing all different kinds of articles related to safety. Now, because this is in a journal related to the field, and because we found it through Wayne State, we know that it's peer reviewed, and that's what we're looking for: academic journal, academic journal. So to make sure that we're not getting lost in these kind of periodical things like that, we can come over here, limit to full text, make sure we have access to the complete thing. You can go up to our advanced search, and we can start to kind of put some modifiers into our search to make sure that we're only getting what we want to do, right? And so we can do any one of these. You can pick your published date. You should try to go for recent things, so within the last 5 to 10 years. And you can kind of pick and choose all these little modifiers. And what those will all do is they'll help you start to see, we're already down to 14,000. They'll help you cut down your searches. And so that's your goal for right now, is once you've kind of started to complete your research guide, you should start to be curious about some things in your field. And so what I want you to do is I want you to take that curiosity, take those questions, or take what interests you about this field. Why are you going into this? And use that to start to look into the field itself. Now, again, for Project 2, we won't be so much focused on the actual argument of the article that you find, but it's a good place to start because we will be looking at those arguments in our third project. And so essentially, you're curious about something, you're going to go ask some questions in these databases, you'll find articles that look interesting to you, and you'll use those for Project 2. You can also use those for Project 3. And so this is really the start to all of the research and investigation in the community that you'll be doing. All right, guys, so just to recap, you've got all of these resources available to you. Try to find the research guide that fits your field. Within that research guide, locate a database that you think would be, most useful to you. Once you're in that database, start to ask your questions. Use that keyword guide that I gave you to try to narrow down your focus and find some articles that start to talk about topics that you're interested in. All right, so if you have any questions, obviously feel free to email me. By tomorrow, you should all have feedback on Project 1 from me on your rough drafts, and I will be here if you need me. All right.